If we are going to honor and celebrate Black history here in Vancouver, then this area of Hogan's Alley is definitely going to be at the center of that conversation. But what is Hogan's Alley and what does it have to do with geocaching? Let's talk about it. February is Black History Month, and this is important to talk about it, so that's what we're going to do. Geocaching isn't all about finding hidden treasures. It's about exploring the world around us. And as geocachers, we know that this hobby of ours takes us to places that we never thought we would visit. Our adventures can take us to explore interesting geography or natural wonders, or learn about local history that can impact us in profound ways. And for me, that's what makes geocaching such an interesting tool for learning and for making connections, particularly around history and a sense of place. This is Strathcona, a historical, diverse community here on the east side of Vancouver, bordering Chinatown just to the west over there. This particular area of Strathcona is known as Hogan's Alley. It's home to the historic Black community here in Vancouver. About 100 years ago, you would have found nightclubs and Southern-style restaurants, people's homes and community institutions. So you could see how this area is of historical importance to the Black community here in Vancouver. And you can understand why it might be a symbol of Black cultural heritage. Now you might notice that I'm not standing in an alley or a laneway. And that's because in the 1960s, the community of Hogan's Alley was completely demolished for this. That's the Georgia Street Viaduct. The construction of the viaduct completely destroyed homes and businesses, and families had to relocate, and the close-knit community that once was here thriving was completely torn apart. And there would have been cottages and different kinds of community buildings right where I'm standing. There are plenty of resources online, much better than myself, that you can use to learn all about Hogan's Alley, its history, its legacy, and the ongoing efforts to preserve its cultural heritage, particularly the Hogan's Alley Society.
You can also check out blackstrathcona.com that has an interactive map to learn about different historical sites.
I'll post all of those links in the description, so be sure to check those out because they're really valuable resources and they deserve our support. Can geocaching be used to honor and celebrate Black histories? Yes, it can, and there's already a precedent for this. Last summer, we were in Fredericton, New Brunswick. They actually have a geocache tour, a geotour that honors the history of Black people in Fredericton. It's part of the Atlantic Canada's Hidden Histories Tour. This uses geocaching as a way to highlight places of historical importance to the Black community and other diverse communities in Atlantic Canada. In Fredericton, there is a particular focus on Black history that takes us to historic Black churches. It takes us to the Sports Hall of Fame, where you can learn about Willie O'Ree, who was the NHL's first Black hockey player. And it tours around the neighborhood that he grew up in.
Atlantic Canada Hidden Histories is an initiative started in Fredericton, but in cooperation with Nova Scotia as well. Basically to convey histories of marginalized peoples and do it in the form of geocaching. So locations of significance to different communities would be based on historical significance. Or, well, it could be current significance as well. But central locations, things that people can access easily. There's still the shock of like, oh, like this was a Black community and it's not here anymore.
Right, hence the hidden history.
Hence the hidden, yeah, exactly. Essentially to tell a story that in this part of the country tends to have been erased. It's relatively barrier-free, low cost in the grand scheme of things. The biggest expense is getting the tour established, but once that's done, you could work with other, like you could have BC's hidden histories.
In a previous video, I talked about our visit to Salome's well. It's a centuries-old watering hole that has provided for generations, and it's still one of the most profound experiences I've ever had geocaching. Be sure to check out that video, which will be linked in the description. I'm also going to post my full uncut interview with Graham, so you can check that out if you want to hear more about how the Geo Tour developed.
I think that Hidden Histories tour was such a welcome surprise on our trip to the Maritimes, and it really shows the potential that geocaching can have to bring people to places of historic value and importance. Places like Hogan's Alley here in Vancouver. And even though much of Hogan's Alley was physically destroyed, there are buildings here that are still standing that have a direct connection.
I know sometimes life can be tough, and you feel like you just had enough. When you're thinking everything is gone wrong, just remember that I'm here to cheer you on.
That was the home of Nora Hendricks, who was a pillar in this community. She invited people into her home. She fostered artists and activists and opened one of the very first historic black churches in this neighborhood.
Fountain Chapel still stands today. Although it's a private residence now, there are walking tours that will take you directly outside.
And if you're thinking Nora Hendricks, she also had a very famous grandson named Jimmy.
Excuse me while I kiss the sky.
That's right, that Jimi Hendrix. But Nora herself was no slouch. She was really a central figure in the vibrancy of this community.
There is a housing project named after Hendricks with a beautiful mural painted on its side. An artwork lines the viaduct, displaying the history of Hogan's Alley, in a way reclaiming that space. There are opportunities here for virtual caches or multi-cache stages to bring people to come and appreciate this work and learn about its rich community history.
Just remember that I'm here to cheer you on. Yeah, I wanna pick you up from the ground, let you know that I'm always around. 'Cause I know we can make it, yes we can make it if we try.
In 2018, the City of Vancouver approved a plan to replace the viaduct to offer more housing and recreational space in consultation with community members. Hopefully, this will be a positive next chapter.